The following is an Infinity One Productions presentation, keeping it honest, insightful, interactive. Covering weekly fallout from TNA Impact Wrestling Live as seen on Spike TV. You're listening to Impact Showdown Radio with your host, Lee Sanders and Diamond K.
Lee Sanders coming at you with an all-new episode of Impact Showdown Radio on March 7th. 2013. 2 minutes past the 10 o'clock hour on the East Coast. We're a little bit late. Impact Wrestling went off a little bit late, so hopefully we didn't have you boys and girls waiting not too long, hopefully. Hey, thanks for checking out tonight's show. We got a jam-packed episode for you guys tonight. We're going to be covering the fallout from what all you might have missed from tonight's episode of Impact Wrestling. We're also going to do a very special overtime segment in which we're going to give you the very latest update on Paul Bearer, a.k.a. real name, of course, William Moody. Of course, we were one of the first wrestling radio shows that was on the air this past Tuesday night, myself and co-host Diamond K, as we had broke out the news, as we had learned it via WWE and TMZ pretty much at the same time. And all we knew at the time was that he passed. If you have not been checking out what all has been happening on the web, we'll definitely give you the latest update on that. And again, that's going to be in a special overtime segment. So basically what that means is we're going to go off at our usual time. And unfortunately, there will be some of you all that won't get to catch that special segment, but you will be able to catch it on the downloads, and we'll also air that special segment on this Saturday's RCWR show as we try to get you guys ready for the TNA Lockdown pay-per-view. You know how I like to do it. I like to put on that thinking cap as a booker and offer match predictions for the pay-per-view. Hey, we'd love to hear from you all. We have the chat room that's open right now at blogtalkradio.com. When you get a free moment, you're more than welcome to jump on in there. You can also take the time out to interact with us on Twitter. Hit us up at Infinity1Prod. We actually heard from quite a good number of you all tonight. There were some of you that were pretty peed off at some of the things that you had saw on Impact tonight, and we'll definitely get into all of that. Co-host Diamond K will be joining me in just a little bit. In the meantime, folks, just kick on back, relax, and let's have at it. Of course, I've got to just go on ahead off the break, and I've got to talk about probably one of the biggest pieces of news to come out of tonight's Impact Wrestling. The final member, well, so to speak, the last person that was maxed but was unmaxed last week by the one and only, the Olympic gold medalist, the wrestling machine, the cyborg, Kurt Angle, who was acting like the goddamn Batman last week, just beating up all of those members of Aces and Eights. Unmasking VP, shocked at what he had learned right there. And I just want to tease you guys for just a little bit. Now, I tried my damnedest not to mention this person's name a lot because I felt as though if I said the name enough, it was going to spread like wildfire on social media, and a lot of people were going to be very disappointed with who was up under that mask. And I was very stingy with the way I had put the name out there. If you guys been listening to us for a while, you know the name. If you watched Impact Wrestling tonight, I'm pretty sure there are those of you that go, you know what, Lee did drop that name a while back. Yeah, now that I think about it, he hasn't been mentioning the name within recent weeks. Well, I went on record at 6 o'clock p.m. Eastern on the dot. I put a tweet out there. I said, letting you all know right now at 6 o'clock p.m. Eastern on this day, and I did not even have to kick back. I didn't have to engage with other people, hear what they're talking about, or watch somebody's videos. I didn't have to do any of that. I just kicked on back, and I just literally marinated on what all I have saw from Aces and Eights this past year. And there was just one thing that just kind of rubbed me the wrong way that made me say VP is definitely this guy. Let's set it up properly for you guys as we get ready to do the big reveal. So we see Kurt Angle, who is at the Impact Arena. He's in a backstage area. Cameras catch up to him. They say, hey, Kurt, are you going to reveal who is VP from Aces and Eights? Kurt Angle, he says, yeah, you bet your ass I'm going to reveal who it is. I've been sitting on this information all week, and I will be revealing it tonight. This just has rippling effects on the entire TNA roster for the company itself. I am still in shock. I can't believe this went down. Now, later in the night, we would see Wes Briscoe come out before Kurt Angle. And I must admit, I kind of liked Wes Briscoe a little bit more when he was quiet, because what he was cutting tonight, it just wasn't working for me. He just had this whole goofy sound in his voice. Great look, don't get me wrong. Got a great look. Needs to do something with the hair, though. Looks a little too girly for me, but, you know, he was on point till he started opening his mouth. Tried my best to look past some of the stuff that he was saying. I know there was a lot of you all out there that was watching this segment and just felt it was excruciating hearing him talk. But in a nutshell, Briscoe saying how he used to respect Kurt Angle, he used to respect the name, everything that he accomplished until he got to know the man personally, and he just doesn't like him, as he confirms what all that he had been hearing about Angle, the negative rumors, that is. Turns out it's all true, and he's looking forward to their match at Lockdown, as he wants to prove that a Briscoe is better than an Angle. Well, Kurt Angle, he would come out, and at this point you're kind of thinking to yourself, hey, did something happen to Kurt Angle here? Because remember what we said last Thursday night? I put it out there for you guys, okay, is Kurt going to make it to the Lockdown pay-per-view now that he's unmaxed VP? Because he literally went to their clubhouse, brought the fight to them, and he gets ganged up at the end. So is it even humanly possible we're going to see him? Well, I don't know how the hell he was able to get out of that clubhouse. It would have been nice to maybe see some type of footage that would have showed him being pushed off of a truck or the back of a truck going to, I don't know, somewhere out in the unknown. I don't know what, but, we see Kurt Angle. He's 100% looking good. He's all nice and dandy. He comes out, is ready to beat the crap out of Briscoe, which is exactly what this guy does. And then we see none other than one TNA official and D'Lo Brown, Al Snow, all come in there. They're trying to break it all up. We see Al Snow along with the other TNA official. They've managed to get their hands around Kurt Angle, and Angle says, it's him, it's him. And they're trying to figure out what in the blue hell Kurt Angle is talking about, and it doesn't finally click until it's too late. We see D'Lo Brown take a low blow to the groin of Angle, followed by a punch to the face of Al Snow. Wes Briscoe jumping on that TNA official. Folks, there you have it. The newest member of Aces and Eights, well, you already knew this, but the VP member of Aces and Eights is none other than, woo, you're looking at the real deal now, D'Lo Brown. And co-host Diamond K, we were talking about this, and you can definitely confirm, 6 p.m. Eastern, I put that tweet out there. I said, basically, I'm calling it, VP is D'Lo Brown, # disappointment. You said something a little different, though. You say, honestly, if it is D'Lo Brown, I like it. I kind of like that. I definitely want to hear your case of it, because I think at this point we've been pretty much on the same page on a lot of the stuff we've been covering, but I think with this one we're definitely on two different sides of the fence. Go ahead, brother. Why do you think this is a good move and that D'Lo Brown is the way to go?
Well, a VP, what is the VP? It's really, he's one step above Taz. Really. I mean, so it's it's just a way to further the storyline. And quite frankly, I think that of all of the Aces and Aces members, I think he's the one with the best background. No disrespect to Devon Dudley, but I thought it was cool, and I think that D'Lo can cut a decent promo, and it's just, of course, he's not going to really be in the ring, but it's just another. This is NWO all over again, and it's just not as bad. I mean, with the problem I had with Taz being a member is that he's not going to do anything other than talk, and with him being a commentator, theoretically, one of the wrestlers could go down and just smack him upside his head. It's just he just talks so much trash. And I didn't think it's a really good fit having the commentator there that's there every week be a member. But with D'Lo, it's somebody that's familiar to the people and someone that you see ever so often, and it gives you that they've infiltrated TNA management kind of story angle. So I didn't really have a problem with it.
And for those of you out there that's kind of like, where the hell did this come from? What's going on here? See, the seeds have been planted, I believe, for D'Lo Brown a long time ago. We talked about this briefly, Diamond, but just to refresh you all's memories that didn't catch it, basically you got to go about, I believe, 2, maybe possibly 3 months. There was that one episode of TNA Impact where Wes Briscoe was given the opportunity to have a gut check tryout match. This was all courtesy of Kurt Angle as he did his little sweet talking to the judges. And Wes Briscoe, he had his tryout match. I can't recall who it was that he defeated, but I remember he did win, and the judges, they were supposed to talk about it. And then remember, Al Snow was supposed to fly down to the Orlando studios in Florida for that Impact Wrestling tapings, but he didn't make it. Turned out he got blacked out. He landed in a hospital, and apparently he had some type of food poisoning or something like that. Remember who was the judge that went in his place? It was D'Lo Brown. And if I'm not mistaken, Diamond, I believe it was a swing vote. I believe if Al Snow, I'm just speculating here, but I believe if Al Snow would have been there, Al Snow would have said no to Wes Briscoe, but it was D'Lo Brown that had that final vote that gave Wes Briscoe that TNA contract. So the seeds for D'Lo Brown have been planted in there for a while now. And, I know there's probably going to be a lot of people that are disappointed right now. And, at first when this went down, Diamond, I definitely was disappointed. I said, my God, so this is what we have right here, okay? And as soon as I saw this, I am just, and we'll talk about this more later, but I'm just thinking about that wrestling legend that said what he said about Hulk Hogan and Eric Bischoff and how they are just getting WWE rejects. I couldn't help but think that. And I'm saying to myself, man, what a letdown. But then I start hanging on to something called hope. And I pay attention to the key words that D'Lo Brown had said right after they came back from a commercial break and he was with his brothers. And he basically said, I was told, this is the key words right here, I was told when I first came into Aces and Eights that I would never be alone. Now just pause right there. Okay, we may have VP Diamond, but there's still that one person that is just stirring the whole big pot. There's still one more identity at least to try to crack and see, once and for all, who truly is the mastermind behind this stable. And I think those of you that might be looking for that shock value, Diamond, I don't know if you agree or disagree, but I think those that might still be looking for that shock value, they may be able to find it with whoever it is that's pulling the strings.
Yes, I have said for quite some time who is pulling the strings in Aces and Eights. And the person pulling the strings is someone that a lot of people don't want to believe, don't want to accept, but it is Brooke Hogan.
Again, I think you're on to something. But for those that might have not caught that, get them caught up to speed while you're thinking it's Brooke Hogan.
Well, I think it's Brooke Hogan because I have a feeling. Mm-hmm. And if you pay attention, it's always, I think it's the Brooke Hogan. I think they want to do a heel turn with her. It kind of makes sense. I think they want to do kind of the Stephanie Triple H type of vibe is what I'm thinking. Knowing how TNA thinks, so I think that probably means that Bully Ray will probably be involved. But I think it's going to all come to light. I think Bully Ray is going to get the title, and I just think at the end of the day, Brooke Hogan is involved in Aces and Eights. Just because it just makes sense, the way they've been telling the story. It's not going to be Hogan. I think it's going to be Brooke turning on her father.
I mean, there's enough evidence to support that. I mean, look at the scaled back responsibilities of her as the so-called TNA VP executive of the Knockouts division. She's kind of just let the Knockouts roam around, do their thing. She's been more and more quiet, kind of taking a back seat to Bully Ray. You see Bully Ray, every time you see Bully Ray and Brooke Hogan, he's usually just grabbing her like a daggone rag doll, just dragging her all over the place. We saw her tonight. She's just kicking back in the background, just kind of smiling, looking on there. I mean, there's definitely some evidence there that would kind of suggest that this could be the route that they're going to go. And whether or not Bully Ray is part of that, quite honestly, I think you need to have some type of shock value go down at the Lockdown pay-per-view. Let me ask you something, Diamond. Do you think that tonight was the right night to have D'Lo Brown be revealed? Because, I'm looking at this and I'm kind of saying to myself, I know they wanted to try to have a strong of enough finish for this particular episode as we're days away from the Lockdown pay-per-view. And this, in a way, is kind of the end of an era, if you will, because Impact Wrestling is now going to be going on the road permanently to wherever cities they can bring it to, although they will, from time to time, come on back to Orlando studios in Florida. But do you think this was the right night to have D'Lo Brown be revealed, or maybe they could have stretched out and make something happen at Lockdown just to make it even that much more memorable, since they're hyping up that the attendance numbers is going to be through the roof for this particular pay-per-view?
Well, I definitely think tonight was a good night to do it. They needed to give us a little bit more. I thought this was a good showing for the Impact show, and they needed to give us a little something, especially going into the way that last week's episode ended. So we needed to get a little something because we hadn't had a reveal in a little while. I'm not extremely impressed with Briscoe, but I am. I do like the progression of Bischoff thus far. But I think they. Yeah. But I think we needed a little something. This reveal at the pay-per-view would be disappointing. D'Lo reveal at the pay-per-view, it would be disappointing. So we're going to need a little bit more for that. But D'Lo in itself, on paper, it's like, okay, big deal. But so it's just one of those things. It's better than the first two guys.
Mike Knox and Festus. I can't think of his real name right now, but I'm just going to go with Festus. Yeah. Biscuits and gravy. That's every time I look at him, that's all I can think of. I appreciate D'Lo Brown. I mean, he's better than those two guys we mentioned. He's even better than Mr. Anderson. It's something about Anderson that just rubs me the wrong way. It's like, I was just thinking about this as I was watching him tonight. I'm saying, wow, this guy just turned 37 years old. What has he really accomplished? I mean, I literally had to refresh my memory. I totally forgot about this, but apparently he won the TNA title there twice in 2011. That completely had skipped my mind because it just seems like that's how irrelevant he's become in the company. And not to, guys, I try very hard to be very positive. I try to be very unbiased as possible when it comes to talking about Impact Wrestling. But, man, I just couldn't help but think about a watered-down version of the NWO as I'm kicking back, and I'm seeing D'Lo Brown be revealed Diamond. I'm like, especially when D'Lo Brown says aces and eights forever, I'm like, wait a minute now, that kind of sounds a little NWO-ish right there. Don't you mean NWO for life? I'm like, and I got to show some love to one of the people that had interacted with us during the night. Let me show some love here to Never Hate Velvet. Actually, no, correction. She did say something interesting, but let me come back to her. Let me show some love to Jennifer, one of our longtime followers. She said, aces and eights, who's next? Barry Horowitz? This is getting worse than the watered-down NWO. Maybe Virgil will join too, and Marcus Bagwell. Laugh out loud, Russo-esque. And, it's like, they're starting to have too many cooks in here, and it's like, I literally mean what I said earlier, when I was tweeting you. I was like, as long as we don't have Blue Meaning in the stable next, give it some type of credibility, man.
Yeah, well, I mean, where they're messing up at is that where they need to go now is further storylines. It's not, they think it's just about shocking us with people. I think they have to give us a story that we care about. And they need to start expanding the story. If that was one of the problems with the NWO, there was not really a central point of the whole thing. I mean, just saying we want our own show or some other crap. I mean, that's who's going to believe that? That's just ridiculous. So it's just you got to you have to have a story where the Shield is progressing so much better than Aces and Eights. Is just they have a core group of three guys, and we're seeing these guys progress, and we're starting to care about these guys. But Aces and Eights, twice the size of the Shield, and we don't know anything that's motivating any of these guys. And that's a problem to get people to care about something that's been dragged out as long as this has been.
Yeah. I mean, there's even been just a little bit of lukewarm buzz over what's been going on at Ring of Honor Wrestling. I mean, Matt Hardy, he joined Scum. That's kind of sent a little bit of shockwaves through the Ring of Honor Wrestling community. So, I mean, you see all these things that's happening in these different promotions with these little stables that they got going on, and it's like aces and eights. I agree 100%. It's like, okay, who can we reveal next? And it's like, and there's really, no storyline behind it. They definitely need to try to give us a little bit more that we can sink our teeth into, and hopefully, with the lockdown pay-per-view, afterwards, they can kind of accomplish that because right now, D'Lo's good. Don't get me wrong, he's good. I love D'Lo Brown. I remember everything that he did in the WWE there. He was one of my favorite Attitude Era guys, right along there with Sexual Chocolate Mark Henry. But yeah, man, I need to see a little bit more, from this going forward. Let's quickly talk about some of the matches that had went down on tonight's card. I know we had got to see Austin Aries in action, Diamond, as we saw him take on, I believe it was Jeff Hardy there that he had challenged, as his little plan last week kind of backfired on him of trying to play kiss up to the TNA champion and Bully Ray, trying to get both sides to work against each other there. Didn't work. But surprisingly, Diamond, we saw big man Matt Morgan interfere in that match there, gave a nice big boot to the face of Jeff Hardy. Match ended in a DQ. Cameras later caught up with Matt Morgan, asking why he did what he did. And nice promo that Matt Morgan had gave right there, saying how he remembers how Hulk Hogan literally chose Bully Ray, and that TNA champion Jeff Hardy, well, he's the champ. As far as Morgan is concerned, Jeff has something, that he wants to get, and basically everybody is put on notice right now. How are you enjoying the continued evolution of Matt Morgan right here, besides the beard?
I really like Matt Morgan, and this guy's a future world champion, definitely. I know that if Hogan wishes he was about 10 years younger, because that would be a giant that Hogan would like to slay. And I'm pretty sure that he wants to, and I think that they are on a collision course. It's going to sound crazy, for Bound for Glory. Hogan and Matt Morgan.
You ain't letting that go.
Hogan and Matt Morgan. It sounds crazy, and as crazy as it sounds, I think that Hogan really wants to make that happen. That aside, though, I'm very impressed with Matt Morgan. He's come a long way, and I'm sure that Vince cannot wait to try to get his hands on Matt Morgan. But they don't have anything for him, though. He needs to be involved in some type of an angle. The reason why I think that something's going to happen with him and Hogan is because that's the angle. He's in an angle with Hogan. He's not even in an angle with anybody, really. So they need to find something for him to do.
I tell you what, man. The one thing that I've really been kind of kicking back going, wow, WTF, where the hell is I know WTF doesn't mean what the hell. I'm just throwing that in there for the hell of it. Where the hell is Joey Ryan? Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Like we haven't seen that boy in about a month. And I see the stuff that he posts on Facebook. He's like, tune in to Impact Wrestling. It's like, well, we'll tune in, but you ain't gonna be on there. Why are you hyping him up? It's like that's just me. It's like, all that damn free press you giving them, you ain't even on there, brother. What's going on? So, I don't know. Maybe something could change with lockdown, but it's clear that there is some attention on Matt Morgan. And I tell you what, if we were to see Hulk Hogan and Matt Morgan, hands down, Morgan's got to get that. Maybe it could be like a street fight or something like that. But definitely I would have Matt Morgan just demolishing the heck out of him. He'd eat him up for breakfast big time. It could go down that route. I think he might be on to something because, really, like you said, that's the only angle he's got going on right now. It's obvious they're not trying to put him in the direction of the tag division. They don't have him even flirting with the X division. They had a good opportunity to put him in aces and eights, but they decided they didn't want to go that route. And I think, honestly, that's, no disrespect, but I think that's beneath him. I think you need to do something a little bit more than just put him with a stable. A guy that looks like that, he should have gold around his waist already. So, I definitely think before this calendar year is out, we're going to see a new champion get crowned in Matt Morgan. Let's talk about that TNA Gut Check. Wow, that was very interesting. Iva Valles, Lady Tappa. We shockingly see Iva She gets axed this girl sacrificed a MMA fight to do this. You know, you and me were both saying this last week. We said both girls, they gave a good performance. They both should have gotten contracts. I mean, if it was a worst-case scenario where you kind of had to go, okay, you can only choose one, unfortunately, I would definitely have to go with Ivor Lee's. But, I mean, man, to see Ivor Lee's kind of have that smug look on her face, Diamond, I don't know if you were kind of catching the same vibe, but when I saw her have that sore loser look, it was kind of like, damn, you know, is this is this scripted or is this real emotions right here? You know, because I know when we had Aaliyah Markopoulos, I don't know if you remember him, he was like the only youngest TNA Gut Check contestant to try it out. I think he was like 18 at the time. You know, he had revealed some very interesting tidbits that, you know, they don't know the results. They just know Aaliyah comes down to the ring, judges give decision, you know, so they only know but so much. So I'm kind of wondering right there, you know, did Ivor Lee's know that this was going to go down, or did what we see of her facial expressions tonight tell a true story that maybe there was something going on there? You know, I hate to speculate, but kind of really came off on TV that maybe she was told she was going to get a contract.
You know, I didn't take it like that. I took it to mean that I think there's going to be more from her in the future. But clearly the crowd was with her. I think she wrestled the face in their counter, and the crowd was definitely with her. I think that they left the door open for a possible return from her at some point in time.
Yeah, I'm thinking the same thing. And honestly, I think it'd be nice if they bring her back in there. And I don't know, man. I mean, all due respect to Lady Tappa, but the crowd, man, as soon as we heard her talk, I couldn't help but kick back and say, nah, sister, please just be quiet right now because you're hurting yourself. You know, you sound like Rocky Balboa, you know. You sound like Rocky Balboa.
You know, well, that's one of the problems that I have with the whole gut check, procedure. You know, come on, kick out, and all this kind of crap. Every wrestler does not need to know how to talk. And she clearly is somebody who needs a manager. But, I mean, Barbarian was like that. Did we ever hear the Barbarian cut a promo? I don't think so. And if we did, my gosh, that would have been terrible. But he was effective at what he did. She's clearly a big girl, and she needs to be pushed accordingly. So she doesn't need to be talking. And her strong point definitely is the Amazon-like build, and she could dominate the knockouts division and all of that. They could have picked up both girls' contracts. They don't pay the girls that much anyway, so it really wouldn't have hurt them at all to bring both girls in. I think that would have gone over better with the crowd. You see that Pritchard had to go to the I don't want to say the pallbearer thing, but he had to say something to kind of calm the crowd down because they were getting ready to lose the crowd with the way that they did it. Had they gone with, we're going to give both of you girls a contract because of your performance and this and that would have made the crowd happy, and it would have been better.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and I couldn't help but wonder when they were going to bring up William Moody, a.k.a. Paul Bearer, because I'm like watching. I'm looking at the clock. I'm like, okay, now we're past an hour. All right, come on now, what's going on here? And then when I saw the gut check segment, I'm saying to myself, well, who better than Bruce Pritchard? I mean, after all, Brother Love introducing us to Paul Bearer for the first time there to take over being the manager for Undertaker. I'm saying, okay, surely this is the route that we're going to go. So it was nice to finally hear Paul Bearer get the acknowledgement there. And, yeah, man, that was a good moment, too, because, I mean, that crowd, me, man, they they was ready to riot right there, man.
Yeah, they were pretty vocal.
Yeah. Another quick rundown, we saw, there was a best 2 out of 3 falls match between Team TNA and Aces and Eights. Basically, whoever got the best 2 out of 3 gave their team, if I'm not mistaken, an extra man for Sunday's Lockdown pay-per-view match. Am I understanding that right, Diamond?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the way they had it worked out.
Okay, so we saw in the first bout Devon defeat Sting. Poor Sting. I guess he was in the backstage area, like, just taking the bat to the chair, and it just kept, like, ricocheting to his head, because that guy, we see him one segment, he's just all nice and cleaned up, and then we see him the next segment, he's all bloodied up. We check in with him a third time, and it's like, damn, dude, where's your face paint? I mean, he was just...
Yeah, well, I mean, it's funny because, I was watching the match, and I turned away momentarily, and I came back, and then I saw he was, bloody in the ring, and some type of, I didn't see the interaction with the fan. What happened during that part?
I have no clue. Like, I mean, it was
because it looked like they kicked. It looked like they kicked the guy out that was on the front row.
I don't know what the heck happened.
Yeah.
I got it on DVR though, but
definitely if somebody somebody out there listening knows, I definitely would like to see. I didn't know whether did they throw something at Sting, did they hit him with something, whatever his interaction was with the fan on the front row. The referee got the fan tossed out, and a little bit of that was caught. In the segment, and I just didn't know, and I didn't understand whether Sting, that was a hard way shot that caused the bleeding, or whether it actually came from the fan or what. But they didn't recap. They didn't run back the highlight of the match at all.
Right, because if I'm not mistaken, Aces and Eights members didn't interfere in that.
No, we didn't. So I like I said, seems like I just turned away for 2 or 3 seconds.
Same here, yeah.
And then so it was all downhill for Sting from there.
Man, poor Sting.
Yeah.
Man, poor Sting. Put a big old bandage over his head. Hopefully he's all right, and hopefully they've done what they needed to do with that particular fan, and have banned him from future episodes that might be taking place at that location. And later on in the night, we would see another match, good match, reunited, and it felt so good. We got to see Samoa Joe team up with Magnus to take on Garrett Bischoff and Doc from Aces and Eights. They pretty much had got the win over those guys to even the series 1-1. And in the final bout, we saw Mr. Anderson get the win as he defeated James Storm to award Aces and Eights with the one-man advantage for this Sunday. And we'll be running down the card for the Lockdown pay-per-view. Diamond, definitely want to get your thoughts on who all you think is going to walk away victorious this Sunday. And other matches we had, let's see here. I'm trying to think off the top of my head. I believe we saw Daniels and Kazarian. They teamed up with Gail Kim, and they had defeated Velvet Sky, Chavo, and Hernandez. Got that little bit of a rivalry there going on between Gail Kim, Velvet Sky. I'm looking very forward to that. I know Hulk Hogan and Eric Bischoff, they are very high on Gail Kim. I got to pick your brain off the break. Do you think Velvet Sky's title reign is in jeopardy?
No. Well, I mean, I guess it's always in jeopardy per se, but I don't think that she's going to lose the title.
Because, I mean, I can't, and the reason why I put that out there, I can't help but think about, that last go-round when Velvet Sky last had the title there, and Gail Kim came back, and, I mean, the very next week, yoink, and I'm thinking to myself, man, could we be kind of seeing history repeat itself again? And I think you're onto something there, because Gail Kim said something to Velvet Sky I thought was very interesting. It was in a backstage segment leading up to this match. She said, I've beaten Tara a couple of weeks ago in London. I've beaten you before, which is damn true. And she also mentioned this that kind of gives me a clue that she's probably going to lose to her. She said, I'm undefeated at Lockdown. So, usually when you kind of start throwing statistics out there, usually, for TNA at least, it usually kind of backfires. So I think this could kind of be their way of trying to have Velvet Sky get over even more and say, she did something that no other knockout was able to do. She was able to defeat Gail Kim, in her own pay-per-view where she always shines the most. So very interesting little development right there. Of course, we'll see what happens, but I'm definitely thinking with you, Diamond, that Velvet's going to retain. In case you missed it, Dixie Carter, she had released a message on Twitter saying that TNA will be taping Impact on April 25th in Indiana, Pennsylvania, and on May 9th in Minnesota, and on May 23rd in Tampa, Florida. And we also got to see another update there, Diamond, on AJ Styles' new bearded look. I don't know if you had read my tweet there, but I had said if you rewind and pause, as the cameraman had walked up to AJ Styles there as he was talking to some random guy, if you paused it there and just looked at it frame for frame, he was talking to a member of Aces and Eights. Looked like it might have been a prospect, but the trademark logos and all that, it was all there. Looks like we could possibly see AJ Styles maybe join Aces and Eights. Your thoughts on that idea and AJ Styles making his return to Impact Wrestling next week?
Yeah, I mean, I saw your tweet about that. I hope not. They need to have, because this was another problem that WCW had with the NWO. It does not need to dominate every single person on the roster. Some people need to have their own separate storylines. And, of course, they're aware of Aces and Eights, but they should have their own individual storylines that don't connect with Aces and Eights. And I'm hoping that AJ is one of those people. I hate the whole we're saving the company from takeover angles. I really hate those. And we are, I don't want to say a year into one, but it feels like it. But I know it hasn't been that long. But I'm hoping that AJ, emerges with this darker persona and stays clear of Aces and Eights.
Right. Yeah. It's intriguing. Is it really needed? I don't think so. I think you have enough substance as it is with what's been going on with AJ so far from the little bit that we've seen. I mean, I understand how they're trying to portray him, though, to us on TV. They're trying to say, he's a little bit frustrated. He's burned out, and he's looking for some type of guidance. So I can kind of understand why Aces and Eights would approach him. But I would be more pleased to see them just continue to flirt with him a little bit, try to tempt him. If they kind of do it right, they can kind of play off of Al Pacino, Keanu Reeves, and the Devil's Advocate there. Kind of do a little something like that. But AJ doesn't join them. Because honestly, you look at where it's got Mr. Anderson. We thought maybe this was going to be exactly what was needed to finally get Mr. Anderson over, and it's just the same old stuff. Darker hair, darker beard, same damn guy. Same attitude, nothing's changed. AJ Styles, I don't see him joining, but I do see Aces and Eights doing one aggressive campaign to get him over. And how about Taz tonight? The more and more I was paying attention to his commentating tonight, the more and more I kicked back and said, wow, where's the Aces and Eights affiliation? I mean, he's laughing at Todd Kenley's jokes, taking little jabs here and there. It's like, this really just is not playing out as I think the TNA writers were hoping.
I agree. And it was while you were saying that, I was thinking, hopefully AJ Styles could be someone who finally turns Aces and Eights down, and could end up feuding with them. I mean, they could also go with the angle with they think that AJ's involved. The old Sting angle that they think he's involved, but he's really not, and in the end, he's not. But they just think that he is. That's something that they could do, which wouldn't actually be bad. But at this point, do you just want to join the crowd, and the whole Aces and Eights crowd, and get yourself a vest, join the boys?
I know, right? I mean, freaking crazy, man. Freaking crazy. Overall, what did you think about tonight's Impact Wrestling?
Overall, I liked it. I thought it was for whatever reason, and I don't want to think it's WrestleMania season, but for whatever reason, their shows seem more energized, and they seem like there's light at the end of the tunnel, and they're getting better.
Yeah, they are. They are, yeah. Right. I want to go on ahead on that note, and I want to take a brief commercial break, and then Diamond. We got a special treat. We're going to be joined by one of our longtime guests. Love it when he comes through. The one and only, the famous Justin Reno. He's going to be stopping by, and he's going to share some thoughts on what all had went down with Paul Bearer, as he had the opportunity to be one of the last people to personally meet and greet the man. As I remember, Paul Bearer, he had did something with Blitz Pro Wrestling back on February 23rd, Diamond, and he's going to join us and talk about his experience, and we'll definitely give you guys the latest update on what all we know about Paul Heyman. I don't know why I keep saying Paul Heyman. Forgive me, guys. Paul Bearer. I got my P's mixed up this week. I'll work it out. Don't worry. And we'll also read some of you all's comments. We had asked you guys to share some of your thoughts on the passing of Paul Bearer. And the amount of comments that you all have given to us on YouTube, humbly thank you guys in advance, and we'll definitely come right back. We'll definitely share some of those with you all. We may go into a little bit of overtime, and in case we do, then just wait about 20 minutes after the 100 hour, as the show will be wrapped up officially in 10 minutes. I'm not going to extend it. It's just going to go in overtime, and if you want to hear me and Diamond's picks for who all is going to be walking away at Lockdown this Sunday, you'll just have to wait about 15 minutes after we go off the air, and the episode will be available for download. All right, so we're going to go ahead. We're going to take a brief commercial break, one and only commercial break, and we'll come right back, and we'll jump right into it. He's the one and only Diamond K. I'm Black Avenger Lee Sanders. We'll be coming right back, folks. Do hang tight.
For news you can use, like us on Facebook during this commercial break at Infinity One Productions.
All right, and we are back. Do not adjust your sets. We're back now. Impact Showdown Radio. Black Avenger Lee Sanders with Diamond K. All right, we're going to go on ahead and we're going to bring in our very special guest, longtime guest that's been coming by the show. We always love it when he comes by. We wish it was on a more lighter note, but we're bringing him in to share his thoughts on the recent passing of William Moody, a.k.a. Paul Bearer, Percy Pringle. Still devastated by the news. We were able to learn a little bit of new information on what all had went down, as apparently he's had a little bit of declining health, Diamond, within recent weeks. And, nothing speaks to me more loudly, though, than when you lose a loved one. And unfortunately, he had lost his wife in 2009. And the old saying, they usually say, 2-3 years after the fact, is when, you know, the other one usually joins them on the other side. And, you know, he'd been taking that along with the health. And if I'm not mistaken, he had a blood clot last week. And, you know, recently he's been in a wheelchair and all that, you know, getting around. But from what I was able to gather, I don't know what you were hearing at your end, but from what we were able to gather, you know, he was in good spirits. And let's go ahead and bring in Justin Reno. Justin, buddy, thank you so much for joining us tonight, man. How you been?
I've been pretty good. Thanks for having me.
Mm-hmm. Oh, anytime, bro, anytime. So I know you had, because I remember, you know, I always check out your updates on Facebook, and I know you had probably one of the last times there where you were able to get to see Paul Bearer in person. I was wondering if you could share with the listeners, you know, your experience, you know, what it was like, you know, to see the man, you know, in the flesh and, you know, and everything.
Yeah, our match was actually 10 days before he passed away. We had originally it was me versus Buddy Roberts Jr. in a Bad Street match to honor his father, Buddy Jack Roberts, who passed away, I want to say November or December. So we were having a Bad Street match in his honor. And Paul Bearer was a close family friend of the Buddy Roberts family. So he came in to support Buddy Roberts Jr., and he managed Buddy against me. And big surprise when Paul Bearer shows up, he doesn't come alone because he also brought a casket and 4 druids. So for me to be standing in the ring with Paul Bearer there, bringing out the druids with the casket, you know, goosebumps all over my body, a very surreal moment. It's like a dream come true right there. So I was very honored to have his last moment in a wrestling ring.
And that definitely is the very last moment, correct?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, it was. Wow. That's yeah. What's your take on you know, because we're hearing the rumblings now that WWE is thinking about possibly inducting him posthumously into the Hall of Fame this year. Do you think it would definitely be a good move to do?
I don't see any problem with that because he was going to go in the Hall of Fame either way. Mm-hmm. So, you know, what's the difference really? And with The Undertaker, you know, coming back, I think it would be good timing. I think people would be ready to see that.
Mm-hmm. Well, what was your experience like? Did you have a chance to, you know, talk to him before and after your match?
I talked to him a little bit. I kind of let him sit back and talk to Buddy because they're going over old memories from childhood and everything like that. So I didn't have a too in-depth conversation with him. He seemed all right, though. You know, he was a nice guy, and he was breathing kind of hard, doing very little, just like walking around the ring, managing and stuff like that. But I just assumed, you know, he was getting up there in age, and he's always been real heavy set. Mm. So I don't know if he was kind of feeling what was coming or what. Mm.
That's definitely crazy, man. That's crazy. What's your fondest memories of William Moody as Paul Bearer or Percy Pringle? Just in general, what's your favorite fondest memories?
I would say my favorite promo was when him and Undertaker were building the casket for, I believe it was the first ever casket match, and they were just building it, you know, with the wood and cutting the wood and hammering it in and everything. I mean, there's a lot of Paul Bearer moments, and I was a huge Undertaker fan, so I've seen a lot of them. I can't narrow it down to one, but if I could, I loved that casket when they were building the casket. I thought that was pretty sick.
Yeah, it was. Diamond, feel free to jump in, buddy.
Yeah, I mean, I think that as far as him going in the Hall of Fame, I think that they should wait until next year. And point being that he's such an important part. I would hate for him to be overshadowed by the likes of some of the people that are in there. But if they wait until next year and they position everything right, you know, he could really get a bigger shine. If you look at somebody like Mick Foley, we've forgotten all about Mick Foley's going in the Hall of Fame this year because he's been overshadowed by some of the other people, and I wouldn't want that to happen to Paul Bearer.
Good point. It is jam-packed as it is. Yeah. But I mean, it just a thought that they would be willing to put him in there this year. I mean, that just speaks large volumes of, I would think, the amount of impact that he's had on pro wrestling. Would you agree, Justin?
I agree. You've seen how many wrestlers have posted about his death. He was liked by everybody, because everybody from everywhere, all companies, everybody is mourning the death of Paul Bearer.
Yeah, not going to be another one like him. I mean, there's really not that many left. I mean, we got Jimmy Malfa, the South Hart, Bobby Heenan. I mean, he's not quite 100%. Jim Cornette. Who else is left?
Out of all managers in history.
Yeah.
the Grand Wizard.
You mean as far as still with us?
Yeah, still with us. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh well.
Yeah, I don't know.
You got Heyman, you got Cornette.
Oh, Heyman, Cornette. Yeah. Jimmy Hart. Yeah.
Yeah. I guess Heenan, like you said. All right, we're running out of people.
Yeah, that's yeah. It's not quite what it used to be. Yeah. It's, Justin, I'd like for you to share your thoughts. How much of an impact does a manager make? I mean, when you get a guy like Paul Bearer, or you get a guy like Bobby the Brain Heenan, or Jimmy South, and to have that decades of wrestling experience, just a couple of steps away. What's that like for a up-and-coming wrestler like yourself?
I mean, the manager is kind of a lost art in the business these days. You don't see really any on TV. You see them on the indies, but for whatever reason, they never get looked at. But look at a guy like Jack Swagger, a guy who's been doing nothing forever, and then you put him with Zeb Coulter. All of a sudden, this guy, he's one of the most interesting things on television right now because of his manager, and that shows how powerful a manager can be. Yeah,
no doubt. Before I let you go, because I know you only are with us for a little bit of time, I definitely would like for you to give us an update with what you've been up to since last we had spoke with you. I know you are still pushing that new gimmick there, Judas, and I'm really liking that, by the way.
Yeah, and by the way, today, for the first time, you can actually go to judasyork.com. It just went up today. Judas, YORICK.com. That's the new gimmick. And pretty much right now I'm only working it at Pro Wrestling Blitz. And I'm still trying to get it out there. A company in Indiana has been contacting me, but I haven't had it. I'm not booked yet. So I'm still working on trying to get as much bookings as possible. The new website should help. But really the most exciting thing that's happened to me was that Bad Street match. I don't know if you had a chance to watch the match, but me and Buddy Roberts Jr. really tore the house down. And I think if it wasn't for Paul Bearer's passing, I think that match would still be remembered because me and Buddy had a hell of a fight.
Yeah, I didn't get a chance to watch it yet, but I did see some of the comments that were coming in for it, and a lot of the folks that did take the time to comment on the video, they were giving you guys some mad props on that. Yeah, you know me, I usually kick back on the weekends, and I definitely catch up on what all I miss. But yeah, I'm glad you had a great match, man, and honestly, I'm really glad that you were able to work briefly there with a legend like Paul Bearer.
You know what? And I'm glad that that match was as good as it was, so that Paul Bearer had, because when you go around the indies, there's a lot of bad in the indies, and me and Buddy went in there. Mm-hmm. Paul Bearer even said that Pro Wrestling Blitz was the best indie company that he's seen in 20 years. So for him to work in the best indie company he's seen in 20 years, his last match, close family friend Buddy Roberts Jr., I think it was kind of a great picture, and it was a good way. I'm proud of our performance that we could do that for his last match, and that's going to go down as his last match.
Right. Hey, went out on top, That's how I look at it. Went out on top. Hey, man, before we let you go, just want to give you a heads up. We're going to be celebrating our 1-year anniversary officially next week, and we're going to be celebrating all week long. If you got some free time this month, man, you're more than welcome to, come on back and talk a little longer. Maybe we can pick your brain on what you like or dislike that's been happening in both companies leading up to WrestleMania there.
Yeah, for sure, man. Send me some dates. I'll let you know.
All right. Diamond, any last words you want to get in for Justin before we let him go for tonight?
Definitely. How hard is it, wrestling? What kind of toll does it take on your body on days that you're not wrestling?
Oh, my, I feel it every single day. I'm still feeling, I just got over the effects of the Backstreet match because I took a body slam on steel bleachers. I was whipped with a belt. I walked out of there with a huge black eye. Buddy Roberts Jr. had welts all over his back, too. So when you really go to war in there, then you could definitely feel it the next day. You could feel it if you take 3 bumps. You'll feel it. People don't seem to realize how hard the rings are. There's about 1 inch of padding, and that's just on wooden boards on top of steel panels. There's no spring in the ring. That's just the wood bouncing off the steel. People don't understand that, so it definitely takes its toll. They say every bump is like being in a small car crash. That's why they say your body can only take so much, because eventually you're not going to be able to take that anymore. You're going to end up like Hogan or any other. You can name any legendary wrestler. They have some type of issues, but that's part of the game. That's we all know what we're getting into. So
yeah, definitely. I have thrown a few indie shows here in Baltimore, and when the guys were putting the ring together, I was inquiring about, okay, where's the padding? Where's the rest of the padding that you're going to put down? And they're like, no, this is how it is. This is it. And I'm just like, okay, wow, But so I definitely have a newfound respect. A lot of people think that the ring is not, wood and steel and a little bit of, canvas over top of it, but it looks pretty hard.
And those ropes too, because I think WWE uses some kind of like actual rope, but excuse me, most companies use it's literally the wire that you hang from elevator cables, the steel wires with a hose around it and tape over that. So, especially when you first start learning how to run the ropes, you end up with, bruises all over your back and stuff from that, but you eventually get used to that.
Yeah. Definitely.
Ouch. It makes me appreciate what you guys do even more, that much more, for sacrificing your bodies and going out there and doing what you guys, do best, all in the good name of entertainment. Always, I can't stress it enough. My hat's off to what you all do, because it's truly freaking awesome.
Thank you. I don't know what to say.
No, and you're welcome, man. Shoot, seriously, you're welcome. And that's going to do it. I know Justin only could be on here for a little bit of time, so because we kind of caught him at the last minute there. But yeah, we'll definitely be in contact, man, and can't wait to have you come on back. And it's going to be fun, man. You know how we do it over here.
Oh yeah.
Well, rest up, man, and enjoy the rest of the weekend, and don't party too hard.
I'll try not to, but I can't promise anything.
Hey, don't do something Judas wouldn't do.
Hey, exactly. By the way, Lee, I want you to plug my website because it's a good website. Plug the new website. I'm
actually on it right now, and I like the whole black and dark bloody red effect, man. I want you guys to go to Justin Reno's alter ego website here. It's Judas. You're going to have to help me out with the last name there.
Yorick, Yorick. It's from Shakespeare, man. Don't you know your Shakespeare?
No, I just did Romeo and Juliet, and that was it. And
read Hamlet.
And Richard III. I dug my Richard III. My horse, my kingdom for a horse. and then he got killed. That was my joint. Yeah, I'm loving it, man. I mean, you got the whole black, bloody red going on. You even got a little bit of purple. All my favorite colors. I like it. And, folks, he's even got a couple of videos up right now. One from Blitz TV, Paul Bearer's final match. He's got something.
Is that one up there?
Yeah, it looks like it's on there. Let me click on it right now.
Awesome. I have the best website people in the world.
Yeah, it's actually up on there. Yeah. And
awesome.
you got about 1, 2, 3, 4. You got about 5 videos on there. Let's see what else is on here for you. All your appearances that's going to be coming up in Joliet. Yeah, man, they hooked your site up real good, man. Yeah, take a look at it, guys.
To them. I can only take a little bit of credit for that. I threw some ideas out there, but I got my people. But yeah, everyone should check out that Paul Bearer's last match, the Bad Street Casket match. It's pretty sick.
Yeah, check it out. It's on his website right now. Go to Judas Yorick. That's YORICK.com. And check it out. And Justin, buddy, thank you so much, man. We know this was short notice. We really appreciate it.
All right, man. It was my pleasure.
All right, have a good night, bro.
All right, you too. Thanks.
All right, bye. And Diamond, just to kind of pick up there on Paul Bearer, I definitely just want to read just some of the comments that you all had put in on our YouTube channel talking about Bearer here. I'm just going to pick some random comments. I mean, we had like a ton of comments. There's like 55 comments and counting. And again, thank you to all of you that had submitted your comments. We'll probably end up reading some more this Saturday. Let's go with Mr. Jack Black 7. Paul Bearer, Hall of Fame, class of 2013 or 14. Anyone with me? That's a hell yeah right there. Elia Lee, 81. He was awesome. Rest in peace, Paul Bearer. You will be missed. And let's see. Carudo. It's a sad loss that Paul died, and I was just... Wait a minute. I don't have my glasses tonight. It's a sad loss that Paul died, and I just want to get something off my chest. Paul Bearer was a crazy-looking man, but he was one of the greatest managers I've seen, and in real life was a good man. Rest in peace, Paul Bearer. I'll read a couple of more here. This one I thought was interesting. CC25Y. Wow, that is very sad news. My first memory of Paul was when I was a kid. I was watching Survivor Series, and $1 Million Man brings out Undertaker, and here comes this guy in a trench coat and Paul Bearer behind him. All I heard was Paul in his high voice, and I was just laughing the whole time. But when they would let him speak, when he did promos, and I was no lie, just so tuned in, his promos were so cutthroat, and so, yeah, I honestly enjoyed watching Paul and Undertaker. And I want to read one more here. This one is from Matthias Morbius. I only watch wrestling for The Undertaker. He and Paul Bearer together were just magical. When they first debuted till now, it's been those two. If one or the other are on, I will watch. Now I will only have the one. I never met Mr. Moody or Mr. Calloway, Undertaker's real name, but this loss hurts as it will be Mr. Calloway passes before me. My deepest sorrow to the Moody family. And I mean, Diamond, that's just pretty much been a sentiment. I mean, there's not like one person that had anything to say about Moody. Just nothing but outcrying love and support and admiration for the man.
Definitely. I mean, my first memories of Paul Bearer go back a little bit further than the tweeter. Well, I mean, actually, when he was Percy Pringle down in World Class Wrestling before he even came to WWE. But he's always just been such an asset to the wrestler, and I thought that a lot of the guys that were in the territories before coming to WWF at the time, I thought that they were watered down once they got to WWF. But Paul Bearer truly did a completely different character, and he really did it. I think that even though the Percy Pringle character, I would say it's kind of like a if people didn't get a chance to see it, I would say it's sort of like a Colonel Sanders almost from KFC. Kind of reminds me of that, style of dress or whatever. But the Paul Bearer thing was completely different, and he really did that very, very well. He's definitely going to be missed. I think that this has to have a major effect on The Undertaker, and I think that effect on his career. I don't see it going too much further now. It's not too much more that they can do with it. Intertwining Paul Bearer between Kane and Undertaker was very instrumental for the Undertaker character. And as Kane and Taker are winding down, I think that this is kind of the end of the road for both of those characters in the next couple of years.
Next couple of years, yeah, I agree 100%. One of my fondest memories of Paul Bearer, definitely when he was first introduced on the Brother Love show, and I just remember looking at him. I remember how I was when I was a little kid, and I was watching Undertaker, and I was watching Paul Bearer, and any kid back then, will legitimately tell you this, because this is the truth. When you first saw Undertaker and you see Paul Bearer and you see them come out together, you couldn't help but get scared. Some, I know I cried. I know there's a couple of kids that had cried when you see this guy come out, because it's like, my God, this guy, you knew something just wasn't quite right. This wasn't a happy joy moment. It just felt so dark, creepy. It kind of felt like you were in a haunted house and you weren't really sure, what to expect, and just see Paul Bearer's, ghostly face there as he was first introduced. It was kind of like, oh my God, it's like Paul Bearer. And it dawned on me years later, Paul Bearer with Undertaker. It's like, what a perfect freaking combination, peanut butter, jelly, and that was definitely one of my fondest moments, was when Brother Love had first introduced them. Of course, Bad Blood in Your House, 1997. We got introduced to Kane, courtesy of Paul Bearer. I mean, that was a freaking moment right there in itself. It was like history repeating itself all over again, Diamond. It was like we're literally watching Undertaker 2.0. And I find it so amazing that we have been watching WWE for all these years, and we've seen so many people come and go, but I mean, you can look at a guy like Undertaker and you can look at a guy like Kane. Just take away the stupid little storylines that Kane has been in, and from a gimmick standpoint, from the whole funny haha standpoint, and I mean, these two guys, they've almost had a mirror career, successful at that. Right. And Paul Bearer, aka Moody, is all tied to that. And, it always just has me go, what if you didn't have a Paul Bearer? Would these guys have been just as successful as they are now? And honestly, I don't think they would have reached the same magnitudes without being linked to him.
Yeah, I agree with that. Initially, I was a little hesitant, thinking that they may have made a mistake switching from Brother Love to Paul Bearer, but it was definitely the right move for them to go.
Yeah, hands down. And no doubt he's going to be inducted. It's just a matter of when. If it doesn't happen this year, rest assured it's going to happen next year. And Diamond, I hope with the argument that you made that it does go down next year, because right now it's just too many people. And as soon as you said Mick Foley, I said automatically to myself, he is in that, isn't he? And I forgot already. Yeah. So I mean, it's jam packed right now. Hey, let's let's liven the mood up a little bit. Let's run down quickly the Lockdown pay-per-view card coming up this Sunday. And let me pull it up right here because I can't remember verbatim. I know we got Jeff Hardy versus Bully Ray, steel cage match, TNA World Heavyweight Championship. Who you got right there?
I got the title change in hands there.
When do we see a rematch? You think it's going to play out on an episode of Impact Wrestling, or
Yeah.
Okay. Because I know they got those little gaps in there now. Okay.
Yeah, which I think is good. I think these gaps are good.
Let's see who else we got. I'm looking. I can jump out there right now. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go with Jeff Hardy on that one. I'm gonna go with Jeff Hardy. I don't think it's time just yet. I don't think they're done with Jeff Hardy just yet. I think there's a couple of more pay-per-views they can get out of him before that title changes hands. I see him holding it for at least 2 more pay-per-views.
Wow, that would be Bound for Glory then, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
We got Team TNA, Sting, Magnus, Samoa Joe, James Storm, and Eric Young, taking on Aces and Eights, Devon, Mr. Anderson, Mike Knox, Doc from Aces and Eights, and Garrett Bischoff. And what's up, Doc? That's all I got to say about that.
Well, I have the Clubhouse taking home the victory.
Yeah, big revelation there with D'Lo Brown being VP.
Oh, yeah.
They need a little momentum. Aces and Eights all the way. Kurt Angle versus...
That's a little... They got a little momentum with D'Lo. They need a lot of momentum.
they need a lot more, yeah. They need a lot more. How about Kurt Angle versus Wes Briscoe? I'm looking at this one, and for some weird reason, I just don't see Kurt Angle getting the job done.
Oh my gosh! I really if he loses, that's going to mean that this is going to prolong, and I don't think that they're done with this. So but I would like to think that Kurt could beat Wes Briscoe.
Yeah, any damn day of the week. He could probably do something that the guys over at the other company did there those couple of weeks with the one arm tied behind the back and the mask. Yeah, Kurt Angle got that boy hands down. So we're both in agreement. It looks like it's going to be Wes Briscoe then for the W.
Right.
Velvet Sky versus Gail Kim. I think we're both in agreement on that one. Yeah, Velvet Sky, unfortunately. Yeah. Sorry, Gail Kim fans, but Velvet seems to be the way to go, and I've definitely been very vocal on Velvet Sky. I don't think she should be holding the title, honestly. But I mean, they're gonna run with her. But I think Gail Kim will one day get the belt back. Maybe it could happen on a episode of Impact Live. Keep your fingers crossed. Bobby Roode and Austin Aries will be taking on Bad Influence, Christopher Daniels and Kazarian, taking on Chavo Guerrero and Hernandez, 3-way dance for the TNA World Tag Team titles.
I'm going to say Daniels and Kazarian victorious here.
Two-part question comes into my mind when I look at this match. Bobby Roode has left his dance partner just dangling in the wind 2 weeks in a row now.
Yep.
Could he do it again this Sunday? That's what I'm really wondering right now. If Roode does show up, then I have Roode and Austin Aries retaining. If Roode doesn't show up, then I can see Daniels and Kazarian. I think we both are in agreement. The tag belts don't need to go back to Chavo and Hernandez.
No. That's just a snore fest.
Yeah. They've milked that for all it's worth already. We don't need to see that again. Let me see. One more match. I believe it is the Robbie E. versus Rob Terry. Something I can kind of get behind right here. It looks like we're starting to see the beginning of a big Rob Terry push. I'm all in. I'm for Big Rob.
Yeah, I agree.
I will jump out there, though, and say that although it could be a squash match, I don't quite see it ending right here. I think they're going to continue on TV. I think we could see them dance at least maybe 3 more times after Sunday.
Yeah, that's possible. Well, I mean, do we really want to see that, though?
I think it would be interesting, and at the same time, it would give Robbie something to do. I mean, he's just really just been, it's like, what's going on with Robbie, and I can kind of tell that TNA kind of, the writers at least, it seems like they kind of favor him a little bit more than Joey Ryan, and that kind of speaks volumes to me right there.
Yeah, definitely. I agree.
Yeah, so, I mean, I'd like to see him continue, they don't want to have it drag out. I don't see this going into the next pay-per-view. I can see them maybe doing a little something on Open Fight Night. They have another match, and then, maybe something a couple of weeks later, they can go at it again. Maybe Sting or Hulk Hogan, they can set up and say, okay, look, y'all got to squash this once and for all. This is what's going to go down. Win, lose, draw, that's it. This is done. And basically we see Big Rob Terry, he finally wins the war, and he moves on from Robbie E. That'd be a good way to play it out. I know Kenny Kingston had said that he was going to be making an appearance. Who do you think he might end up facing? Because I believe he put the challenge out there that anyone that thinks they can step up to him, they're more than welcome to try to take him on. But who do you see possibly taking him on?
It's really hard to say. Maybe you think somebody like Zima would be a nice, I don't think it needs to be somebody we haven't seen in a while.
Christian York.
Yeah, I think you're probably right there.
Christian York. I mean, the guy's phenomenal in the ring. Even if it's just to come to drop to Kingston. I'd love to, see him come on back, and, I've always been entertained. He hasn't really been wrestling that long for them, but each time he's done a little something, I've been really impressed with his work. I'd like to see him. I don't really want to see Rob Van Dam, but I'm just getting, I'm getting that Highlander feeling that we could possibly see Rob Van Dam pop up and get squashed again. So
I hope not. I hope it's Christian York. I mean, it's funny that you mentioned him. I booked him for a show here in 2012, so it was definitely good to see him getting his opportunity on Impact Wrestling. He lives in Virginia, and it's just good to see him. He's a good guy, and it's very good talent. So it's definitely he's a veteran, and he definitely needs to be seen.
Yeah, indeed. I just, as you were saying, Matt, and I was listening to everything you were saying, I just got hit with a wild card. Somebody that we haven't seen that was awarded a TNA contract, Mr. Boomstick himself, Jay Bradley. That's another one that could possibly step up to the plate with Kenny Kingston there. I think that would be a very interesting matchup.
Yeah, it would be cool. I mean, this is opening match stuff or second match, on the card.
Yeah, as long as they don't go with RVD, I think we will be okay. Hulk Hogan's going to be making an appearance. I'm not really reading too much into that. And so are you going with a huge shock value at Lockdown for Sunday, or do you think?
Yeah, they definitely need something. I mean, this is WrestleMania season. They need something that's going to have people, talking about Impact Wrestling for these next couple weeks. So we need something shocking to happen. I don't know what it is, but they need something because I know that WWE, from what the rumblings that I'm hearing, is planning some big shocker for after WrestleMania. Sort of like how they did with Brock Lesnar last year. So I'm hearing rumblings of possibly a surprise whose name also starts with B.
I know exactly who you're talking about. I heard those rumblings last year. Yep. We're on the same page. There's one thing that we were missing from tonight's show, and it's your call. We can either save it till next Thursday, but I wanted to play that daggone clip of who ripping into Hogan and Bischoff. What you want to do? You want to save it for next week? What you want to do?
No, we might as well go into it now. Next week is going to be old news.
All right.
Get into it now.
All right. So on that note, let's set it up for him then. So, because we both heard this, but it's wild, man. It's wild. If you haven't heard this, you're going to enjoy this. Bret Hart had recently sat down with Wrestle TV, and he did like an hour-long, straight-up, just a shoot interview. I mean, they was just asking him all types of questions, and he was just brutally honest. And one of the questions that was asked was, what did he think about Hulk Hogan and Eric Bischoff having their whole run with TNA? And y'all want to pull up a seat for this. This is very interesting right here. We'll go on ahead, we'll play it, and then Diamond, we'll just come right back. We'll let you run with it. All right, so here we go. Enjoy, folks.
Well, what do you think of what Bischoff and Hogan are doing now then with TNA Wrestling?
I got no faith in either one of them, like zero. They're going nowhere. If anything, they're going to lose a lot of ground. They're spending a fortune on a guy that's worthless. And Bischoff's as worthless as Hogan. The two of them got zero to offer the business. Hogan, the only thing Hulk Hogan knows, or knew, he doesn't even know, it doesn't even matter anymore. He's older than I am. He's still hanging on, still hanging in there. But Bischoff and Hogan, the only thing Hulk Hogan ever knew was how to make Hulk Hogan.
Yeah.
He couldn't tell you how to make AJ Styles or Samoa Joe. What's Hulk Hogan going to tell Samoa Joe? He doesn't know anything to even tell him. He's got zero to offer. And I can't see the company. And Vince Russo, is he still with the company?
No, he's left.
That's maybe a modest improvement. But anyway, I just think, they got all the rejects. They picked up all their trash that Vince would, swept to the side when everything was over. It's like, you realize that Bischoff knows nothing. He's an idiot. Vince Russo was a magazine writer that thought he was a wrestling expert that never had a good idea in his life either. And Hogan was pretty limited. The only thing he knew how to do was this and a leg drop. And TNA, they got to me before they signed Hogan. I used to watch a lot of TNA. I thought their girl division was
terrific.
Gail Kim. There was Gail Kim when she was there. They were really good wrestlers, and AJ Styles is as good a wrestler as anybody in the world. He's really good. He should be wrestling in WWE. He's spinning his tires in TNA, and it's a shame because that's the big stage that I remember telling Chris Benoit when he went to WWE. And he actually cried on the phone. He didn't want to leave WCW. And I remember telling him, Chris, I said, you're never going to get the break that you deserve until you go WWE. I know it's me telling you this and everything that happened with me, but trust me, get out of WCW and go there where you're going to make a name for yourself. And and he did make a name for himself, and unfortunately everything that happened with him after. But it's the same thing for AJ Styles, that if he really wants to make it as a star, the star that he is, he needs to dump that Bush League and get to the big time. And a lot of the guys that have come from Ring of Honor, like Bryan Daniels and
CM
Punk, and that's what they're making. They're the big stars today, and there's a lot of talent out there that they miss their opportunities, and I just hope that AJ Styles doesn't waste his life.
And there you have it, folks. All right, and a follow-up to that, Hulk Hogan, he was asked about this on Twitter by a follower, Diamond, and Hogan said the following, direct quote right here: "I was always his friend. I don't get it. Bitter? Old age? I got along great with his dad and family. Life is too good for haters." Diamond, your thoughts on that?
Well, I mean, life is too good for haters. But Hogan saying that he always got along with Bret that's hilarious. He did nothing but try to hold Bret Hart back. If you go back to the Yokozuna's title reign, when Yokozuna got the title from Bret Hart at WrestleMania, I don't remember which WrestleMania it was, but Hogan comes in and they challenge Hogan right on the spot at WrestleMania, Mr. Fuji, and Hogan ends up getting the belt. And he wasn't even in a match. And I remember as a kid hearing about this. I didn't see WrestleMania. I heard about it, and so they said that Yokozuna won, but Hogan's the champion now. I was like, how's Hogan the champion? He wasn't even in the match. And so later on, I got to see the match, and Hogan, big-footed Bret Hart and politicked, and when Bret actually went to WCW, Hogan did more of the same. When Bret Hart left WWF at the time to go to WCW after knocking out or after punching Mr. McMahon in the face, Bret Hart was red hot. And they found a way, Bischoff and Hogan, and Kevin Nash for that matter, but they found a way to dull and quiet down Bret Hart, and eventually, of course, he was injured by Goldberg and other things, but he definitely has animosity towards Hogan, justifiably so. And I think that there's a lot of truth in a lot of the things that he said. He wasn't very discreet about it, and he wasn't political at all, because he has nothing to lose or gain from saying how he feels. Yeah. And Bret Hart is one of those guys that wears his emotions on his sleeve. So,
I can't help but think about how the company was when Russo was there. I mean, you can't help but kind of kick back and say, all right, on the one hand, when Russo was there, we saw the Knockouts division at its very best. The X division was really, really something to look forward to every single week. Even though the wrestlers didn't like it, we had a 6-sided ring, which in itself was pretty freaking unique. And, after Russo left, it just kind of seemed like everything that was kind of cool about TNA went out the door with him. And, I can't help but think of that, but then on the other hand, I kick back and I say, well, look at where TNA is now. Now we're kicking back, and TNA, they're now going out on the road. They've been very successful overseas in the UK and Japan, and, they've cut back on pay-per-views, and, they're saving a little bit more money. They're trying to be a little bit more smarter about, pay-per-views. It doesn't have to be every single month we get a freaking pay-per-view. And I think that's a good concept. Because everybody really doesn't have the time, the patience, or the money to kick back and watch 2, 3, 4 pay-per-views every single month. Of course, we got to throw in those MMA pay-per-views as well. So that's how I tallied it up like that. But I think a lot of what Bret Hart is saying, it kind of has a little bit of weight to it. You know, I don't want our listeners to kick back and say, you know, you guys are kissing Bret Hart's. You know, no. What I'm saying is Bret Hart, he is saying something that we've been saying for a very long time now, which is, you know, sooner or later, Diamond, Dixie Carter and crew, they're going to get to that point where they can't keep continuing to rely on the services of Sting and Hulk Hogan. Sooner or later, rise or fall, they're going to have to go at it hard on their own. You know, you're not going to be able to kick on back and, you know, get a hold of another wrestling icon. It's not going to get any bigger than the two that you got in TNA right now. But the time is going to come where they're going to leave. There's not enough money in the world that you can keep giving Sting, not unless you're about ready to give him a Brock Lesnar deal, and I don't really see that happening. You know, that goes for both guys, you know. But for me, it just kind of seems like Dixie and crew are a little bit scared to think about TNA wrestling without Sting and Hogan, and that's very unfortunate because I think the future of the company is really at stake. They did fine without them. They got their first cable deal on FSN, and shout out to the person that had corrected us on our last episode of Impact. I had recalled how Sting got interrupted when he was on FSN. That wasn't even the case. Sting wasn't even on FSN back then, if I'm not mistaken. Sting had joined TNA. What was that, Diamond? 2006?
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah, about 2006. So, yeah. You know, I love it when they correct us on something. You know, we should try to show you guys some love. But they did fine, Diamond, right there. And then, you know, you look at everything that's come after, you know. I don't know, are you picking up the same vibe that Dixie and crew are a little bit scared to think about a TNA without them?
Well, I mean, definitely. And the thing is that he could have been a little bit more diplomatic about it, but what Bret Hart said was true. Hogan doesn't have any advice to offer Samoa Joe or the like. Hogan is a master politician, and he's worried about Hogan. And Eric Bischoff is the same. You know, Dixie is drinking the Kool-Aid from them. And like you said, it's only a matter of time before, you know, time runs out for them. But what I think is going to happen is when time runs out for them, there'll be somebody else to take their place. And that company is going to run. It's going to be someone, you know, speaking about the glory years and how we can, you know, this is how we did things in WWE, and I was responsible for this happening and that happening. And years from now, who knows? It could be Cena in that spot. You know, I don't know. You know, 10 or 15 years from now, Cena could possibly be in that spot as the, you know, whispering in the ear and you know, after he's run his course in WWE.
You know, I like that. That would really be something, and that would really elevate them to the next level to acquire somebody like Cena or Chris Jericho for that matter. And that's a little teaser for next week. Chris Jericho revealed some very interesting stuff about why he hasn't signed to TNA Wrestling yet. I'm just going to tease you with that. If y'all are very curious, it's online somewhere. We'll probably end up posting it over the weekend, but check that out. I got two names for you, Diamond, and we'll wrap up the show on this note. How kick-ass would it be to see, and I know it'll never happen, but how kick-ass would it be to see Sting, he bows out gracefully, Hulk Hogan, Eric Bischoff, their pockets are fat, they don't want to do TNA anymore, they go elsewhere, and we get Jim Cornette and we get Paul Heyman.
Well, you started it off right. It's never going to happen.
It's never going to happen, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think that the two of them could coexist together. I just think that they're both of them are dominant personalities that would not function. They would not play well together. You would have to get one or the other. I would prefer Heyman. I think that Heyman is a better booker than Cornette.
And at least with Heyman doesn't go off on the talent and get physical with them.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
but we can dream, though, man. I mean, if I could make a dream team for the right amount of money, it's like,
that's
look,
your dream team.
That's my dream team. Be like, I know you guys probably want to be like, you know, my stick is bigger than yours, but look, for the amount of money that we're paying you guys, y'all gonna make it work. You know, get in that room, get in there, stay in there for a couple hours. Y'all gonna make it work. You know, money talks. Money talks.
That's true.
You know,
that's true.
That would be a very interesting combination. I would see that company really go to new heights. And honestly, that's two guys right there that definitely would passionately be trying to take the company where it needs to go, hands down, and not all about the side projects and reality shows and, you know, all this other, you know, because when I hear stuff like that, man, it's nothing but a big old distraction, you know. It's like, okay, you're putting all that creative juices and all that energy into this when you should be putting it right over here and, you know, helping this company really get to where it needs to go rather than use it as a pedestal to, you know, launch off whatever it is you're trying to do. That's really how I've been eyeballing them so far.
Yeah.
You know?
Fair.
No,
that's fair.
I know. Yeah, I mean, that some people might not, you know, like that assessment, but, you know, if you kind of really kick back and you think about it, and you just think about all the little reality stuff that's been, you know, coming out from both of them, especially Bischoff, you know, there's a reason why we've yet to see him return on TV. It's because he keeps dipping his hands into some pretty good reality shows. I mean, he's like the new freaking Jerry Springer of reality TV in a way. So, you know, it's quite silly. It's going to be a while before we talk again. Now, we're doing the post show, right? We're doing the post show for Lockdown, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Did you real quick? Did you watch The Whispers?
I did not, but I'm going to catch up on the two shows that I missed this weekend.
Yeah, you're going to like that Whispers, man. I was like, man, like, very rare episode of Unsung does this, but as soon as I got done watching The Whispers, I was like, let me go find the anthology, because I was like, damn, I didn't know they had this many hits, man. Yeah, like, I didn't know they had this many hits. We did a great show tonight. Damn good show tonight. We went all over the place. Special shout out to the one and only, the famous Justin Reno, for stopping by and talking with us briefly there, offering his thoughts on the late Paul Bearer, a.k.a. William Moody. Great stuff right there. And that's it. We're going to be on a well-deserved break. You know, we'll hook you guys up with a weekend edition of the RCWR show this Saturday. You can catch that at 2 p.m. Eastern. Diamond K, of course, he's doing his own thing with Ustream Radio. You'll be able to catch that from 2 to 4 this Saturday as well. So take your pick and enjoy some good content from us. And we'll hook back up again this Sunday, 11 p.m. Eastern. We'll cover the fallout from the Lockdown pay-per-view, one of the most historic pay-per-view that TNA is bringing us. It should be very interesting. It's going to be from San Antonio, Texas. And boys and girls, if you're not able to catch that pay-per-view live on your TV set, hey, we got your cover. We'll hook you up with live results every 2 to 4 minutes at our website over at InfinityOneProductions.com. So go check that out. Good stuff, as always. And comment, lead on up to when we do the post show. Missed any episodes this week, Be Kind Rewind. Go check them out. iTunes, Zoom Marketplaces. Just use the keywords, the RCWR show. Non-TNA fans, you know, we got your hookup this Tuesday at 11 p.m. Eastern for Wrestling Report edition of the RCWR show. We'll hook you guys up with the latest fallout from WWE Raw. We'll also cover very latest and wrestling-related news. That's going to do it for the one and only Diamond K, Lee Sanders. I wish you guys have a very good weekend. We'll see you all this Sunday, 11 p.m. Eastern. Everybody, take care.